Welcome to the Data Kitchen. My name is Mirko, and today I'm your Chief Data Chef. Together, we're going to take raw, unstructured data and transform it into something truly valuable. Just like a master chef turns simple ingredients into a gourmet dish. Every great meal starts with a recipe, just like every great data project starts with a structured process. Today, we'll be following the data analytics lifecycle step by step, as if we were crafting a signature dish. First, we'll decide what we're cooking, understanding the business problem and selecting the right data, just like choosing the perfect recipe. Then, we'll gather and prepare our ingredients, cleaning and refining them so they're ready for use. Once everything is prepped, we'll experiment with flavors, selecting the best techniques to bring out the most valuable insights. Next comes the real cooking, building and fine-tuning our models, testing different approaches, and making adjustments until we get the perfect result. But a great dish is about more than just taste. Presentation matters. We'll explore how to communicate insights effectively, making sure the final product is clear, compelling, and useful for decision makers. Finally, we'll serve our creation to the people who need it, ensuring that our insights are actionable, repeatable, and scalable. By the end of this journey, you'll have a new way of looking at data. You won't just see numbers and spreadsheets, you'll see ingredients, techniques, and the potential to create something truly impactful. So, let's get cooking. Let's dive into the world of the data analytics lifecycle, a powerful framework designed to transform raw data into actionable insights. Think of it as a chef's recipe for crafting the perfect dish, each phase representing a crucial step that takes us from simple ingredients to a gourmet creation. This journey begins with the discovery phase, where, as chefs, we decide what kind of dish we want to make. It's not just about cooking, it's about understanding our diners, or in this case, our stakeholders. What problem are we solving? What flavors or business goals do we want to achieve? Here, we set the foundation by asking the right questions and defining clear objectives. Without this step, we're just throwing ingredients together without a purpose. Next, we prepare our ingredients in the data preparation phase. Imagine stepping into a bustling kitchen with raw vegetables, spices, and proteins scattered everywhere. It's our job to wash, chop, and organize everything, ensuring our data is clean, fresh, and ready to use. We transform unstructured, messy data into a format that's suitable for cooking, or in this case, analysis. It's the meticulous prep work that ensures the success of the final dish. Once the ingredients are prepped, we move into the planning phase. This is where we decide how to bring out the best in our ingredients. Should we slow cook a prediction model for depth of flavor, or maybe a quick stir fry using classification techniques for speed and simplicity? This phase is all about choosing the right techniques and tools to create a dish that aligns perfectly with the tastes of our stakeholders, our business goals. Now comes the model building phase, the heart of our culinary journey. This is where we combine our ingredients, apply our chosen techniques, and bring the dish to life. It's an iterative process of tasting, adjusting, and refining, testing different flavors, and tweaking the recipe until it's just right. The data begins to reveal its story, and our creation starts to take shape. But even the most delicious dish needs to look appetizing. That's where the communicating results phase comes in. Presentation matters, whether it's a beautifully plated meal or a compelling visualization of insights. Here we translate the complex language of data into a story that's easy for everyone to understand. It's about connecting the dots and making sure the insights resonate with our audience, driving the decisions they need to make. Finally, we serve the dish in the operationalization phase. This is where all our hard work comes together. The insights are integrated into the organization, driving real-world actions and delivering tangible results. Just like a satisfied diner leaving the table, this phase ensures our stakeholders can taste the value we've created and use it to drive meaningful change. The data analytics lifecycle is more than just a framework. It's a journey, a story, and in our case, a culinary adventure. Each phase builds on the last, ensuring that we don't just analyze data, we craft something impactful, memorable, and ready to make a difference. Let's get cooking. Every great dish begins with the discovery phase. Before we even step into the kitchen, we need to take a step back and define what we're aiming to create. What is the ultimate goal of this dish? Who are we cooking for and what will delight them? Similarly, in the discovery phase of the data analytics lifecycle, we focus on understanding the business problem, setting clear objectives, and learning the context in which we're working. The first step is to establish the objectives of discovery. This is where we define what success looks like for the analytics project. What specific outcomes are we trying to achieve? How do these align with the overall business objectives? This clarity sets the stage for everything that follows. Next, we immerse ourselves in the business domain. Just like a chef needs to understand the ingredients, the culture, or even the seasonality of flavors, we need to understand the unique challenges and opportunities in the business environment. This involves gaining insights into the specific industry, recognizing trends, and identifying potential roadblocks or opportunities that may influence the analytics project. Stakeholder engagement is another key aspect of this phase. These are the people with a vested interest in the outcome, the diners at our table, so to speak. By involving them early, we ensure their expectations, insights, and needs are fully understood. Whether it's the analytics sponsor providing the high-level vision or the technical teams offering input on practical constraints, this collaboration ensures that everyone is aligned before we move forward. Finally, we analyze the information we've gathered to identify key patterns, insights, and findings that will inform the next steps. Documentation is critical here. It ensures that the knowledge we uncover is captured and can guide not only the current phase, but the subsequent stages of the life cycle. Discovery is the foundation of the entire process. Without it, we'd be cooking without a recipe, wandering aimlessly, without understanding the ingredients or the outcome we're striving for. It's the part of the journey where we define the vision, align with our stakeholders, and lay the groundwork for success. This is where the story of the data-driven dish truly begins. Now that we've set our objectives, the next step is to truly understand the environment we're working in. This is where we immerse ourselves in the business domain. Think of it as a chef exploring the cultural and seasonal context of a dish. To create something truly meaningful, we need to understand not just the ingredients, but also the larger story they're part of. In the world of data analytics, this means gaining insights into the business environment. What are the specific challenges and opportunities within this industry? Are there key market trends influencing the direction of the business? Perhaps there are customer behaviors that need to be addressed or emerging technologies that are creating new possibilities. By understanding this context, we start to see the broader picture that will guide our approach. This step is all about recognizing the unique dynamics at play, like a chef studying the nuances of regional cuisine or understanding how local spices can enhance a dish. We analyze the business landscape, uncovering trends and patterns that may not be immediately obvious, but are critical to creating an analytic solution that resonates. The key here is depth. The better we understand the business domain, the more precisely we can tailor our solution to address the needs of the organization. This isn't just about solving the immediate problem. It's about creating a strategy that aligns with the company's long-term vision and goals. Learning the business domain isn't a step we can afford to rush. It's where we connect the dots between the data we'll work with and the outcomes we want to achieve. It's the process of asking the right questions, uncovering hidden opportunities, and ensuring that the path we're on leads to meaningful, impactful results. This is the research and exploration phase that ensures our final dish isn't just well prepared. It's deeply relevant and aligned with the needs of those we're serving. As we prepare to move forward, it's important to assess the resources we have available. Every chef knows that the success of a dish isn't just about creativity, it's about having the right ingredients, tools, and time to bring the vision to life. In the world of data analytics, this means evaluating the four critical resources: time, people, technology, and data. First, we look at time. Just as a chef must balance preparation, cooking, and plating within the constraints of a service, we must carefully manage the project timeline. We identify key deadlines and milestones to ensure that each phase of the data analytics lifecycle stays on track. Without this focus, delays can ripple through the process, affecting the quality and delivery of insights. Next, we consider the people. In a kitchen, every member of the team has a specific role to play, from the sous chef to the line cook. Similarly, in an analytics project, we need to ensure we have the right mix of talent. Do we have skilled data analysts, project managers, and technical specialists? Are the roles and responsibilities clear? Collaboration is key, and every team member must bring their expertise to the table. Technology infrastructure is another crucial resource. This is the set of tools and systems we'll rely on to collect, clean, model, and visualize the data. Whether it's advanced analytics platforms, cloud storage, or visualization tools, we need to assess whether our existing stack is up to the task or if additional investments are required to meet the project's needs. Finally, we evaluate data availability. This is the heart of the project, the ingredients for our dish. We conduct an inventory of internal and external data sources, ensuring they are relevant, accurate, and complete. If there are gaps in the data, we need a strategy to fill them, whether by sourcing additional data sets or collaborating with stakeholders who can provide access. This phase is all about being realistic and prepared. Just as a chef wouldn't start cooking without ensuring they had everything they needed, we don't dive into analytics without first aligning our resources. By carefully evaluating time, people, technology, and data, we set ourselves up for success in the phases that follow. This is how we ensure the kitchen is ready for the work ahead. Now that we've aligned our resources and prepared our kitchen, it's time to focus on framing the problem. This step is like crafting the blueprint for our dish. It's where we define exactly what we're cooking and why. Without this clarity, even the best ingredients and tools won't lead to a successful outcome. Framing the problem starts with defining the business challenge. What is the core issue we're addressing? What is the context behind it? Just as a chef needs to understand the preferences of their diners, whether they're serving a formal banquet or a casual family meal, we need to understand the unique factors driving this analytics project. Once the problem is clear, we set measurable objectives. These are the specific goals we aim to achieve with the project. Are we looking to increase efficiency, identify customer trends, or reduce costs? These objectives act as the compass, guiding every decision we make throughout the life cycle. Importantly, they must align with the organization's broader strategy to ensure our efforts deliver maximum impact. Engaging stakeholders is also critical during this phase. They are the voices that shape our understanding of the problem and the desired outcomes. By gathering their insights and expectations, we ensure that we're framing the challenge in a way that's relevant and actionable. These conversations help us avoid assumptions and build solutions that resonate with the people who will ultimately use them. At this stage, we also begin developing initial hypotheses, our first ideas about how to address the problem. These hypotheses aren't final. They're like a rough sketch of a dish. They help us focus our approach and provide a starting point for testing and refinement as we move forward. Finally, we evaluate the resources available. This means asking whether the time, people, technology, and data we identified earlier can realistically support the goals we've set. If there are gaps, we address them now to avoid challenges down the line. Framing the problem is all about setting the stage. It's about defining what we're solving, aligning the team, and ensuring that our efforts are targeted and impactful. Just like a chef who carefully plans the menu before stepping into the kitchen, this phase ensures we're not just busy, we're purposeful. With a clear understanding of the problem, we're ready to move forward and begin transforming data into insights. Now that we've framed the problem, it's time to focus on the people who will guide and influence our success, the stakeholders. Every great chef knows that understanding the preferences of the diners is key to creating a dish that resonates. Similarly, in the world of analytics, identifying and engaging key stakeholders ensures we're aligned with their needs and expectations from the very beginning. Stakeholders play many roles in an analytics project. There are business users who will consume the insights, project sponsors who provide the strategic vision and support, technical teams who manage the data, and project managers who keep everything on track. Each of these groups brings a unique perspective and plays a critical part in shaping the project's success. Understanding these roles is essential because each stakeholder has different expectations and priorities. For example, the analytics sponsor may be focused on achieving high-level business outcomes, while the technical teams are concerned with ensuring the data is clean, structured, and accessible. Recognizing these perspectives allows us to create solutions that meet the needs of everyone involved. Once we've identified the stakeholders, the next step is engagement. This is where we actively collaborate with them, developing tailored strategies to communicate and align with each group. It's about building relationships and ensuring that stakeholders feel informed, involved, and valued throughout the project. For example, we might conduct interviews with the analytics sponsor to clarify goals or work closely with technical teams to address potential challenges with data sources. This engagement isn't just a one-time activity, it's an ongoing process that evolves as the project progresses. By keeping stakeholders in the loop and addressing their concerns as they arise, we maintain alignment and build a sense of shared ownership. Identifying and engaging stakeholders is like understanding the tastes and expectations of diners before preparing a meal. It ensures that the insights we deliver are not only impactful, but also deeply relevant to the people who will rely on them. This phase lays the groundwork for collaboration and trust, setting us up for success in the stages to come. One of the most important conversations in this entire process happens in this phase: interviewing the analytics sponsor. If we think of this project like preparing a gourmet dish, then the analytics sponsor is our head patron, the person who defines the vision of what success should look like. They set the expectations, provide the direction, and ultimately decide whether the final result meets the business needs. This isn't just a casual discussion, it's a deep dive into understanding their goals, priorities, and concerns. We need to ask the right questions. What business problem are they hoping to solve? What insights will make the biggest impact? What challenges or constraints do we need to be aware of? Just like a chef would ask a customer about their taste preferences, dietary restrictions, and expectations before crafting a custom dish, we need to ensure we're aligned with the sponsor's vision before we move forward. But it's not just about what they want, it's also about what they need. Sometimes sponsors come into the conversation with a broad idea of the problem, but no clear path to a solution. Part of our role is to help refine their vision, clarify the problem statement, and set realistic expectations based on the available data and resources. This interview is a crucial moment in the project because it shapes everything that follows. A well-defined problem aligned with business objectives gives us the confidence to move forward, knowing we are solving the right challenge. If we misinterpret the needs at this stage, we risk spending time and effort creating something that doesn't quite hit the mark. Just like a chef who carefully listens to their customer before crafting the perfect dish, we need to approach this conversation with curiosity, precision, and a focus on delivering something truly valuable. This is where we lock in our understanding, set the foundation, and prepare for the next stage of the journey. Now that we've spoken with the analytics sponsor, gathered their expectations, and aligned on the problem we're trying to solve, it's time to take our first step into the world of data-driven decision-making, developing initial hypotheses. This is where we begin to shape our understanding of what the data might reveal and start crafting potential explanations that will guide our analysis. Think of this phase like a chef experimenting with flavors before cooking a full meal. Before creating a new dish, a chef might start with an idea. Perhaps they believe that adding a specific spice will enhance the dish in just the right way, but they don't know for sure. They need to test it, adjust it, and refine it before serving it to the guests. That's exactly what we're doing here. We're making educated guesses based on our knowledge of the business problem about what the data will tell us. A strong hypothesis doesn't come out of thin air. It's built on the foundation of everything we've learned so far: conversations with stakeholders, understanding the business domain, recognizing industry trends, and identifying potential opportunities or risks. We use all of this knowledge to create initial assumptions that will drive our analysis. For example, if a company is struggling with customer churn, an early hypothesis might be that customers who contact customer support frequently are more likely to leave. Or if a retail company wants to increase sales, we might hypothesize that offering personalized product recommendations based on past purchases will boost revenue. But these are just starting points. Hypothesis development is not a one-time task, it's an iterative process. As we collect and analyze data, we may find that our initial assumptions were incorrect, or that there are other hidden factors influencing the outcome. And that's okay. The goal isn't to be right from the beginning. The goal is to create a structured approach to testing, learning, and refining our understanding. To do this effectively, we need to ensure that our hypotheses are specific, measurable, and testable. A vague assumption like customers leave because they're unhappy doesn't help us take meaningful action. Instead, we refine it into something more concrete. Customers who experience more than 3 service disruptions in a month are 40% more likely to cancel their subscription. This kind of statement gives us something we can validate or disprove with data. As we develop our hypotheses, we also need to consider the data we have available. Do we have the necessary information to test our assumptions? Are there gaps in the data that might prevent us from drawing accurate conclusions? If so, we may need to rethink our approach or explore alternative data sources. This phase is where curiosity meets structure. It's where we start connecting the dots between the business challenge and the data we have at our disposal. Just like a chef testing ingredients, adjusting flavors, and refining a dish before presenting it to the guests. We use this stage to shape our analytical direction, ensuring that when we dive deeper into the data, we do so with purpose and clarity. Once we have a strong set of initial hypotheses, we're ready for the next step, gathering the right data and preparing it for analysis. The foundation has been laid, and the journey into discovery is about to get even more exciting. Now that we've developed our initial hypotheses, it's time to turn our attention to the most important ingredient in our entire process: data. Just as a chef selects the finest ingredients to create a perfect dish, we need to carefully identify, assess, and source the right data to ensure our analysis is accurate, meaningful, and impactful. We start by looking at what we already have. Internal data is often the richest and most valuable source of insights because it comes directly from within the business. This might include customer transactions, website interactions, sales reports, or operational logs. These datasets provide direct evidence of what's happening within the company and serve as the foundation for many analytics projects. But just like a chef wouldn't cook with old or expired ingredients, we have to ensure that this data is relevant, up to date, and reliable before we use it. Sometimes internal data alone isn't enough to complete the picture. That's where external data sources come in. These could be market research reports, social media sentiment data, economic indicators, weather patterns, or even publicly available data sets that provide additional context. For example, if we're analyzing retail sales trends, incorporating economic data on consumer confidence could help us understand broader market conditions. Or if we're studying customer churn, analyzing competitor pricing data might give us insight into external factors influencing customer behavior. But identifying data sources is only half the battle. We also need to evaluate their quality and relevance. Just like a chef carefully inspects produce for freshness, we have to assess whether the data we're using is accurate, complete, and timely. Are there gaps in the data? Are there inconsistencies that might affect our analysis? Can we trust the source? Or do we need to clean and validate the data before we proceed? This step is crucial because even the most sophisticated analytics models will fail if they're built on flawed or unreliable data. To stay organized, we document all identified data sources. This is like a chef keeping an inventory of ingredients in the kitchen, understanding what's available, where it came from, and how it can be used. A well-documented data inventory helps ensure that the entire team is aligned and that we don't overlook valuable information. Finally, we engage with stakeholders to gather additional insights about potential data sources. Sometimes business leaders, subject matter experts, or IT teams are aware of data sets that aren't immediately obvious to analysts. By collaborating across departments, we can uncover hidden sources of information that might make all the difference in our analysis. At the end of this phase, we should have a clear understanding of what data we have, what data we need, and how we're going to use it. This is the foundation of everything that comes next. Without the right data, we're just guessing. But with the right ingredients in place, we're ready to start preparing, cleaning, and transforming the data into something truly valuable. Now we arrive at one of the most critical stages of the data analytics lifecycle, data preparation. This phase is like the mise en place in cooking, a meticulous process of getting everything ready before the actual work begins. It's about making sure that our ingredients, the data, are not only present, but also in the best possible condition to create something meaningful. Without proper preparation, even the best tools and techniques won't yield useful results. The process begins with data collection. Here, we gather data from a wide variety of sources: internal databases, CRM systems, weblogs, external reports, or even third-party APIs. Each source is like an ingredient in a recipe, contributing something unique to the analysis, but it's not enough to simply collect data. We have to ensure it's relevant to the problem we're solving. This is the first step in building a foundation of trust in the data we'll be working with. Next is data cleaning, which is arguably one of the most time-consuming but essential parts of this phase. This step involves identifying and fixing errors, such as missing values, duplicate records, or inconsistent formats. Imagine trying to cook with wilted vegetables or unevenly cut ingredients. It wouldn't work. Cleaning ensures the data is reliable, consistent, and ready for analysis. For example, if we're working with customer data, this could mean filling in missing email addresses, standardizing country names, or removing outdated records. Once the data is cleaned, we move on to data transformation. This step is about reformatting the data to make it more usable. We might normalize numerical values, encode categorical variables into machine-readable formats, or aggregate data into summary statistics. It's like preparing the ingredients to fit the recipe, chopping vegetables into the right size, or marinating proteins for flavor. This transformation ensures that the data is consistent and optimized for the modeling techniques we'll use later. Data integration follows, where we bring together datasets from different sources into a single cohesive view. Think of this as combining flavors in a dish to create something harmonious. For instance, we might link transactional data with customer support logs to analyze how service quality impacts customer retention. Integration helps us uncover relationships and patterns that wouldn't be visible if we looked at the datasets in isolation. Then there's data reduction, a step that's often overlooked but critical in maintaining focus. This is where we simplify the dataset by removing unnecessary variables or reducing its complexity. For example, if we're analyzing customer satisfaction, we might eliminate fields that are irrelevant to the analysis, like internal process codes. By focusing on what truly matters, we reduce noise and make the analysis more efficient and effective. Throughout this phase, we're not just preparing data, we're ensuring it's trustworthy, relevant, and meaningful. This step also involves continuous checks and validations to ensure data integrity remains intact. If errors or inconsistencies slip through, they can impact every phase that follows, leading to flawed insights and incorrect decisions. Data preparation is the backbone of analytics. It's a phase that demands patience and precision, but it sets the tone for everything that comes next. Without it, we're flying blind. With it, we're equipped with a clean, reliable dataset that serves as the foundation for insights, predictions, and strategies that will truly make a difference. It's the hard work behind the scenes that ensures we're ready for the journey ahead. Now it's time to step into the test kitchen, the analytic sandbox. Every great chef knows that you don't perfect a recipe on the first try. You need a space to experiment, adjust flavors, and refine techniques before presenting your dish to the world. That's exactly what the Analytic Sandbox is, a dedicated environment where we can safely test, explore, and experiment with our data, free from the constraints of live production systems. Think of the sandbox as a chef's prep station, where you can mix ingredients, try out different spices, and experiment with new methods without worrying about impacting the dining room. In the data world, this means creating a workspace where analysts can test hypotheses, explore patterns, and uncover insights without risking the integrity of operational systems. One of the most important aspects of this test kitchen is data exploration. Just as a chef tastes as they cook, we use this space to dive deep into the data, exploring relationships, trends, and outliers. The sandbox allows us to try bold ideas, experiment with advanced techniques, and refine our approach without fear of making a mess. This is also the central hub where we bring all our ingredients together. Whether it's structured data, unstructured data, or external sources, the sandbox ensures everything is in one place, ready to be blended into something meaningful. It's like having a fully stocked pantry where all the ingredients are laid out and ready for the recipe we're creating. The sandbox also supports advanced analytics, giving us the freedom to go beyond basic recipes and venture into more ambitious creations. Imagine a chef experimenting with molecular gastronomy or crafting a complex sauce. This is where we develop predictive models, run machine learning algorithms, and test cutting-edge ideas. It's the space where we push boundaries and try techniques that might otherwise feel too risky in a live environment. And just like a test kitchen, the sandbox ensures that the rest of the operation stays unaffected. By isolating this space from live production systems, we preserve the integrity of our operational data. The dining room keeps running smoothly while we refine our recipe in the background. The analytic sandbox is where the magic happens. It's where curiosity meets creativity and where raw ingredients are transformed into insights. This space gives us the freedom to experiment, fail, learn, and ultimately create something extraordinary, something we're proud to present when it's time to serve. By investing time in this test kitchen phase, we ensure that the final dish, our analysis, is not only impactful, but perfectly tailored to meet the needs of those we're serving. This is how great chefs and great analysts achieve perfection. In every great kitchen, there's a behind-the-scenes process that keeps everything running smoothly. A routine that ensures every ingredient is prepared and ready at just the right time. In the world of analytics, this process is called ETL, extract, transform, and load. It's the equivalent of a prep chef working tirelessly to get every ingredient washed, chopped, seasoned, and delivered to the head chef in perfect condition. We begin with the extract step. This is where we gather our raw ingredients, the data. Much like a chef sourcing fresh produce from the market, we pull data from a variety of sources, databases, files, external systems, or APIs. This isn't just about grabbing anything available. It's about identifying what's relevant and ensuring that every piece of data we extract has a purpose in our final creation. Next comes transforming the data. Imagine taking those raw ingredients and turning them into something usable. Washing, peeling, chopping, or marinating them until they're ready for the dish. In analytics, this means cleaning the data to remove inaccuracies, standardizing formats for consistency, and applying calculations or aggregations to make the data analysis ready. For example, we might normalize sales figures across regions or convert timestamps into a standard format. This step ensures that the data we're working with is clean, consistent, and perfectly prepped. Once the data is ready, it's time to load it into the Analytic Sandbox. This is where we bring all our prepared ingredients to the counter, ready for the chef's creative touch. In this case, the Sandbox provides a safe environment where we can store and organize the cleaned and transformed data for deeper exploration. The data sits here ready for use while preserving the original raw datasets for future reference. In some cases, we use an alternative process called ELT, extract, load, transform. This is like delivering the raw ingredients to the chef first, allowing them to decide how to process and transform them on demand. ELT can be particularly useful when we're working with very large data sets where transformations might need to happen dynamically during analysis. What's important is that the ETL process ensures the data is fresh, reliable, and perfectly tailored to meet the needs of our next steps. It's the unsung hero of the analytics lifecycle, just like the prep chef in a busy kitchen. Without it, the analysis would lack structure and clarity, much like a dish made without proper preparation. ETL isn't glamorous, but it's essential. It's the careful, methodical work behind the scenes that ensures our data and our dish is ready for the spotlight. By the time we finish this step, we have everything we need to move forward confidently, knowing that our ingredients are in their best possible form. Now that we've gathered and prepped our ingredients, it's time to take a closer look at what we have in front of us. This is the phase where we truly learn about the data, where we inspect, analyze, and uncover its potential, much like a chef tasting ingredients and discovering their unique flavors before deciding how to use them. The first step in this process is understanding the availability of our data. Just as a chef assesses what's in the pantry or fridge before crafting a meal, we need to know what's accessible and how it can be used. Are the datasets complete? Are they in formats that support our analysis? And more importantly, are they aligned with the goals of our project? This assessment helps us determine how much we can rely on the data we already have. But sometimes even the most well-stocked kitchen is missing key ingredients. That's when we identify gaps in the data. Imagine discovering halfway through that you're missing a critical spice or a key ingredient. It's the same here. We need to recognize what information is missing and whether those gaps could affect the outcome of our analysis. For instance, if we're trying to predict customer churn but lack historical engagement data, we may need to rethink our approach or source additional data to fill the void. Speaking of sourcing, this phase also involves exploring external data opportunities. Sometimes the ingredients we need aren't in our kitchen and we have to look beyond it. This could mean leveraging public data sets, industry reports, or even purchasing third-party data. For example, external weather data might help a retailer predict demand for seasonal products, or industry benchmarks could provide context for evaluating performance metrics. These external sources often add a new layer of richness to our analysis, much like discovering a new ingredient can elevate a dish. This stage is not just about identifying data, it's about understanding its quality and relevance. Are the ingredients fresh? Are they in the right quantities? Similarly, with data, we need to evaluate its accuracy, completeness, and timeliness. A dataset with outdated or inconsistent values is like using expired ingredients. It could spoil the entire dish. Finally, this is where we start thinking creatively about how the data can be combined or transformed to unlock its potential. Much like a chef experimenting with pairings to create a unique flavor profile, we begin to imagine how different data sets could interact to reveal insights we might not have seen otherwise. Learning about the data is an essential step in our journey. It's where we uncover the possibilities, identify the challenges, and make sure we have everything we need before moving forward. This phase isn't just about inspecting what's in front of us. It's about preparing for what's next. With a deep understanding of our data, we're ready to start building the foundations of something truly impactful. Now that we've taken a closer look at our data, it's time to move into the conditioning phase. This is where we refine, polish, and perfect our ingredients, ensuring that everything is in top shape before we begin the actual cooking process. In the kitchen, this is the equivalent of cleaning, slicing, seasoning, and making sure every element is ready to shine in the final dish. The first step in data conditioning is cleaning the data. Think of this as carefully inspecting every ingredient to remove anything unusable, peeling away bad layers, trimming imperfections, and making sure nothing subpar makes it into the recipe. For data, this means identifying errors, inconsistencies, or duplicates and correcting them to ensure reliability. For example, we might address missing values, standardize date formats, or correct typos in customer records. Clean data is the foundation of everything that follows. Next comes normalizing datasets. This is like ensuring all your ingredients are prepared in the same way, cut to the right size, measured consistently, and ready to blend seamlessly together. In data terms, normalization ensures that everything is on the same scale, making it easier to compare and integrate information. For instance, revenue data from different regions might need to be converted into the same currency before analysis. Then we move on to performing transformations. This is where we take raw ingredients and turn them into something ready for the recipe. For data, this might involve applying mathematical calculations, aggregating values, or encoding categories into machine-readable formats. For example, transforming high, medium, and low into numerical scores ensures that the data can be easily analyzed. It's all about preparing the data so it aligns with the needs of the next steps. But even with the best preparation, unexpected issues can arise. That's where we tackle missing data, outliers, and unwanted elements. Imagine discovering a rogue ingredient that doesn't belong in your dish. It has to be dealt with. In data conditioning, this means developing strategies to handle incomplete entries, addressing outliers that could skew results, and removing irrelevant information. For example, an outlier in sales data caused by a one-time event might need to be flagged and excluded from trend analysis. This phase is all about ensuring integrity. It's where we make sure that our data isn't just available but is usable, reliable, and consistent. Much like a chef ensuring every element of a dish is perfectly prepared, data conditioning ensures that when we move into the next phases of analysis, we're not held back by flaws or inconsistencies. With a clean, normalized, and well-prepared data set, we're ready to take the next step in our analytics journey. This stage might not get the spotlight, but it's the behind-the-scenes work that makes all the difference. In the end, the effort we put into conditioning our data will show in the clarity, precision, and impact of our results. At this stage, we're ready to start surveying and visualizing the data, our equivalent of plating the ingredients and taking a step back to see how everything fits together. Think of it as the moment a chef assembles the dish before adding the finishing touches. It's about getting a clear view of what we're working with, identifying patterns, and deciding where to focus our efforts. Data visualization is like arranging ingredients to tell a story. This is where we use charts, graphs, and other tools to create an overview of the data, revealing trends, relationships, and potential areas of interest. Just as a chef's plating highlights the main elements of a dish, visualization highlights the most important aspects of the data, making it easier to understand what's going on at a glance. The first step is taking a broad look at the data set. This is like surveying the entire table before deciding where to zoom in. By visualizing the data as a whole, we can identify key areas that deserve a closer look, outliers that stand out, clusters of activity, or trends that are emerging over time. These visuals are our roadmap, guiding us toward the questions that matter most. From there, we zoom in on specific areas of interest. This is where we apply filters, refine our focus, and use detailed exploration to dive deeper. Imagine a chef tasting individual components of the dish to ensure everything is balanced. In the same way, we use visualization tools to inspect specific data points, break down trends, and uncover the finer details. The process doesn't stop at just identifying trends. It's about engaging with the data. Much like a chef experimenting with a dish and making adjustments, we use visualization to interact with the data, asking questions and exploring relationships. This hands-on approach allows us to uncover insights that might not have been obvious at first glance. Visual exploration also enables us to tell a story with the data. The colors, shapes, and patterns in a graph aren't just technical. They're communicative. They help us explain the data in a way that resonates with others, making it easier for stakeholders to understand what the numbers are saying and why it matters. It's like presenting a beautifully plated dish that not only tastes great, but tells a story about the care and creativity behind it. By the end of this phase, we've gone from raw data to something meaningful, an organized, visually compelling representation of what's happening. This is where analysis starts to come alive as we transition from simply preparing the data to uncovering its potential. Just like the moment a chef places their creation in front of the diner, visualization is where we begin to see the full impact of our work. And with this clarity, we're ready to move forward and dig even deeper. Behind every great chef is a set of trusted tools, the knives, mixers, and pans that turn raw ingredients into something extraordinary. In our analytics kitchen, the same principle applies. To handle the diverse and complex tasks of data preparation, we rely on a variety of specialized tools, each designed to tackle specific challenges with precision and efficiency. Let's start with Hadoop, the powerhouse of data preparation. Think of it as the industrial-grade mixer in the kitchen, capable of processing massive quantities of data at once. When we're dealing with enormous data sets that need parallel processing, Hadoop provides the infrastructure to ingest, organize, and analyze that data efficiently. It's perfect for handling those big, messy ingredients that require heavy lifting. Next, we have Alpine the user-friendly sous chef of our analytics kitchen. It offers a graphical interface that simplifies data preparation workflows, making the process more visual and intuitive. It's like having a well-organized prep station where everything you need is laid out clearly so you can focus on creativity rather than getting bogged down in technical details. For those moments when we need to clean up messy ingredients, there's OpenRefine. This tool is like the chef's paring knife, perfect for detailed and precise work. Whether we're addressing inconsistencies, resolving duplicates, or transforming data formats, OpenRefine allows us to handle the fine-tuning of our data with care and precision. Then there's Data Wrangler, the versatile multi-tool in our kitchen. It simplifies complex data preparation tasks, allowing us to manipulate and clean data with ease. With its intuitive interface, it helps us prepare datasets for analysis quickly, making it an essential part of the toolkit for anyone looking to streamline the prep process. For projects that demand structured workflows, we turn to ETLT processes. This is the methodical approach that ensures data is extracted, transformed, loaded, and tested with precision. It's like following a step-by-step recipe, keeping everything organized and ensuring the final result meets our expectations. These tools are more than just technical aids. They're the foundation of our efficiency and creativity. Just as a chef chooses the right tool for the job, we rely on these platforms to handle the unique challenges of data preparation. They allow us to focus on the bigger picture, knowing that the groundwork is being handled with expertise. Every great meal begins with great preparation, and these tools are what make it possible. With them in hand, we're not just preparing data, we're setting the stage for innovation, exploration, and the insights that come next. The tools may vary, but the outcome is always the same: clean, reliable, and ready-to-use data, just like a perfectly prepped kitchen. Now that our ingredients are cleaned, prepped, and ready to go, it's time to plan the dish. This is where we move from preparation to execution, carefully selecting the right cooking techniques to bring out the best flavors. In the analytics kitchen, this stage is called model planning, where we decide how we're going to analyze the data, what methods we'll use, and how everything will come together to create a meaningful result. Every great dish starts with a plan. A chef doesn't just throw ingredients together and hope for the best. They consider the textures, flavors, and cooking techniques that will bring the dish to life. The same applies here. In model planning, we carefully assess our data, our objectives, and the analytic techniques that will allow us to get the most valuable insights. One of the first things we do is explore the structure of our data. This is like a chef understanding the composition of each ingredient, how it interacts with heat, how it pairs with other flavors, and what cooking techniques will enhance it. In analytics, this means examining variables, distributions, and relationships within the dataset to determine the most effective approach. Next, we align our approach with business objectives. Just as a chef designs a menu based on the preferences of the diners, we select modeling techniques that match the goals of the organization. Are we looking for trends? Are we making predictions? Are we grouping similar elements together? The answers to these questions shape our strategy, guiding us toward the right analytic methods. Then comes the critical decision: model selection. This is like choosing the cooking technique. Will we use regression analysis to identify patterns, classification models to sort information into categories, or clustering techniques to group similar data points? Each method has its own strengths. Just like roasting, grilling, or slow cooking brings out different qualities in food. The key is selecting the right approach for the problem at hand, but model selection isn't a one-time decision. It's an iterative process. Sometimes the first technique doesn't work as expected, and we need to refine our approach. Just as a chef might adjust the seasoning or change the cooking time based on taste tests, we revisit and fine-tune our models based on the results we see. Finally, collaboration plays a huge role in model planning. In a professional kitchen, chefs rely on their team to share insights, refine techniques, and ensure consistency in execution. In analytics, we engage with colleagues, data scientists, and business experts to validate our approach, ensuring that the models we build align with expectations and deliver real value. This phase is all about strategy. It's about thinking critically, selecting the right tools and techniques, and making sure that when we move into the next step, actually building the model, we're working with a solid, well thought out plan. Just like in cooking, success comes not just from skill, but from preparation. A well-planned model leads to meaningful insights, just as a well-planned dish leads to a masterpiece on the plate. Now that we've chosen our approach, it's time to take a deep dive into our ingredients. Just as a chef carefully selects the freshest produce, the right spices, and the best cuts of meat, we need to explore our data set and pick the variables that will shape our final dish. This step, data exploration and variable selection, is all about understanding the characteristics of our ingredients and how they interact to create a flavorful, well-balanced result. The first thing we do is explore the data set. Think of this as tasting individual ingredients before combining them. We look at distributions, outliers, missing values, and relationships between variables. Are there strong correlations between certain elements? Are there unexpected patterns we hadn't considered? Just as a chef might notice that an ingredient is too bitter or too bland, we identify areas of the data that need adjustment before moving forward. Next, we focus on understanding relationships among variables. In cooking, certain flavors complement each other while others clash. The same applies to data. Some variables may have a direct impact on our outcome, while others might be irrelevant or even misleading. We take the time to investigate these relationships to ensure that we're selecting the right variables to include in our model. One of the key parts of this phase is outcome variable selection. This is like deciding what the star of the dish will be. Are we predicting customer churn, identifying fraudulent transactions, optimizing sales strategies? Whatever the goal, we need to define the outcome variable, the one we're trying to explain or predict, so that everything else is built around it. Then we move on to identifying candidate predictors, the supporting ingredients that will influence the outcome. In regression models, these are the independent variables that help us make accurate predictions. If we're analyzing customer churn, for example, we might consider factors like purchase frequency, customer support interactions, or engagement levels. Just as a chef carefully selects ingredients that enhance the main dish, we pick variables that contribute meaningful insights to our model. This isn't a one-time decision, it's an iterative process. Just as a chef tastes a dish throughout the cooking process, we revisit and refine our selections as we progress. Some variables may turn out to be less important than we initially thought, while others might become key players. The process of iteration ensures that we're continuously improving our analysis and maximizing the quality of our final results. Finally, we use data visualization tools to bring our exploration to life. Just as a chef relies on their senses, sight, smell, and taste to evaluate their ingredients, we rely on graphs, scatter plots, and correlation matrices to understand how our variables interact. A well-designed visualization can reveal patterns that might be hidden in raw numbers, helping us make smarter, more informed decisions. This phase is where we refine and curate our dataset, ensuring that we're working with the best possible ingredients before we start cooking. By carefully selecting the right variables, understanding their relationships, and continuously testing our assumptions, we set ourselves up for success in the next phase, model building. The better our preparation, the stronger our final dish will be. Now that we've carefully selected our ingredients, the variables that will shape our analysis, it's time to decide how we're going to cook them. This is the model selection phase, where we choose the best technique to bring out the most flavor from our data. Just like in the kitchen, different cooking methods produce different results. A steak can be grilled, seared, or slow cooked, each method bringing out unique textures and flavors. In analytics, the model we choose determines how we extract insights from our data. The first step in this process is understanding the data structure. Just as a chef assesses the properties of each ingredient, its moisture content, acidity, or texture, we examine the organization and format of our data. Is it structured or unstructured? Are we working with time series data, categorical variables, or numerical values. Understanding these elements helps us determine which modeling techniques will work best. Next, we align our approach with business objectives. A chef wouldn't prepare a delicate souffle for a barbecue or serve a spicy curry to someone expecting a mild dish. In the same way, we ensure that the model we select is appropriate for the business problem we're trying to solve. If our goal is to make predictions, we might choose a regression or a machine learning model. If we're categorizing data, classification techniques might be best. If we're looking for hidden patterns, clustering or segmentation models could be the right choice. But choosing a model isn't just about preference. It requires evaluating key criteria for selection. Just as a chef considers factors like cooking time, ingredient compatibility, and presentation, we consider factors such as data type, accuracy, interpretability, and computational efficiency. Some models are highly accurate but complex, making them harder to explain. Others may be simpler, but provide results that are easier to interpret and act upon. Striking the right balance is key. This process is rarely linear. It's an iterative journey. Just like a chef might adjust the seasoning or switch cooking techniques midway through, we continuously revisit our model choices. If an initial approach doesn't perform as expected, we refine it, test alternative models, and adapt based on new insights. Finally, model selection is a collaborative effort. Just as chefs share techniques, get feedback from fellow cooks, and refine their recipes, data teams work together to evaluate different approaches, reviewing past projects, consulting domain experts, and experimenting with different strategies all contribute to selecting the best model for the task at hand. At this stage, we aren't just following a recipe, we're designing one. The choices we make here will shape everything that follows. With the right model selected, we're ready to move into the next phase, bringing our data to life and cooking up meaningful insights. Every chef has their favorite set of tools: knives for precision cuts, blenders for smooth sauces, ovens that bring out the perfect texture. The same is true in analytics. When we reach the model planning phase, we rely on specialized tools that help us prepare, structure, and refine our approach before we start cooking with data. One of the most essential tools in our kitchen is SQL analysis services. This is like a chef's knife, fundamental, precise, and versatile. SQL allows us to manage and explore structured data efficiently, helping us clean, aggregate, and analyze key variables before moving into modeling. For those working in statistical and predictive modeling, we turn to R, a powerful tool with an extensive library of functions. Think of R as the spice rack of analytics, offering thousands of packages that enhance our ability to manipulate data, visualize patterns, and perform complex calculations. Whether we're working on regressions, clustering, or machine learning, R provides the depth and flexibility needed for data-driven decision-making. Then there's SAS Access, a tool that acts like a kitchen assistant, seamlessly integrating different data sources and helping analysts pull insights from multiple locations. It ensures that our models have access to the freshest, most relevant data, much like a sous chef ensuring that only the best ingredients make it onto the plate. Each of these tools plays a crucial role in model planning, helping us evaluate variables, test hypotheses, and refine our approach before we build the final dish. The better equipped we are in this phase, the smoother the cooking process will be. With the right tools in hand, we're ready to move forward, confident that our recipe for success is backed by precision, preparation, and the best resources available. Now it's time to take all of this planning and put it into action. We're ready to start cooking, or in our case, begin building the model itself. In our data analytics cooking show, the right tools can make or break the recipe. From specialized gadgets to multi-purpose essentials, having the correct tools ensures that every step of model planning and building goes smoothly. Here's what our professional kitchen, aka the analytics toolbox, looks like. This is like the chef's precision knife, a versatile tool with thousands of packages for statistical modeling, data visualization, and analysis. It slices through complex data with ease, delivering insights with flair. SIS Access. Think of this as your high-end food processor. It connects seamlessly with databases, processing large amounts of data efficiently, making the preparation of analytic models a breeze. SQL Analysis Services, your trusty stand mixer. It helps in managing data, building multidimensional models, and ensuring smooth handling of structured data sets. Data exploration tools. These are like your spice rack. They help you explore the flavors of your data set, ensuring you select the right variables and adjust them to create the perfect model. With these tools, our analytics kitchen is ready to whip up models that are accurate, reliable, and actionable. What's your go-to tool for data preparation and model planning? Let us know in the comments. We're right in the thick of things, stirring up the magic that will transform raw data into actionable insights. And here's the key ingredient we're working on right now: training data. Imagine this. You're crafting a complex dish, and the ingredients you use need to be the absolute best: fresh, diverse, and high quality. That's exactly how training data works for your analytics model. It's the foundation that teaches your model how to recognize patterns, relationships, and trends. Without the right training data, even the most sophisticated model is just guessing in the dark. But what makes training data so important? Think of it as the recipe for success. High-quality training data ensures your model can learn and adapt to the challenges it'll face in the real world. The richer the data, diverse enough to cover a variety of scenarios yet focused enough to stay relevant, the better your model will perform. And like any great chef, preparation is key. You don't throw raw ingredients into the pot and hope for the best. You clean, chop, and season them to perfection. The same goes for training data. It needs to be cleaned, normalized, and prepared. Missing values, handle them. Outliers, address them. Think of this step as setting up your mise en place before cooking. It's what separates amateurs from pros. Here's a pro tip for analytics chefs. You've got to split your data. Part for training, part for testing. It's like tasting as you cook. The training data teaches the model, while the testing data checks if it's actually learned anything. This ensures your model isn't just memorizing the recipe, but truly learning how to improvise when needed. So as we simmer on this step, remember, the care you take with your training data today will define the brilliance of your final dish. Stick around, because up next, we're adding the final touches to prepare this masterpiece for the table. Stay tuned. Let's take our dish to the judges. This is the testing phase. Just like any great chef doesn't send out a dish without tasting it, we don't deploy a model without putting it through rigorous testing. This is the ultimate quality check. Testing data ensures that your model can perform well on unseen data. It's not just about how well the model memorized the training data, it's about how well it generalizes to new challenges. Skipping this phase would be like presenting a souffle that collapses the moment it's served. The stakes are high, and testing ensures that your efforts hold up under real-world conditions. Here's the breakdown. Validation dataset. Think of this as a mini taste test while you're still in the kitchen. It helps adjust and refine the seasoning, tuning model parameters to improve accuracy. Testing dataset. This is the final bite that goes to the judges. It evaluates how well the model handles completely new unseen data. The testing phase guarantees that your model isn't overfitting, a common issue where a model performs exceptionally on training data but fails to adapt to new situations, like an overly complex recipe that only works in ideal conditions. In cooking, it's about balance, sweetness, acidity, and spice. In data testing, we use metrics to strike that perfect balance. Precision. How accurate are the predictions? Did we get it right? Recall. Did we identify all the key elements? F1 score. The perfect harmony between precision and recall. These metrics ensure that the model's predictions aren't just consistent, They're meaningful and actionable. Testing prepares your model for what's next. It's not about perfection. It's about making sure the model performs reliably in the real world. By catching mistakes early, we can make adjustments before deployment, just as a chef tweaks the plating or garnish before presenting the final dish. This step is crucial. The judges are waiting, and the success of your analytics model depends on this final quality check. Next, let's dive into the tools that make this process as seamless as possible. Now that we've completed the testing phase, let's focus on the tools that help us perfect our dish. Imagine a master chef's kitchen. It's filled with state-of-the-art equipment, each tool designed for a specific purpose, all coming together to create culinary magic. Model building in the data world works the same way. The tools we choose can elevate our process, refine our models, and ultimately determine the success of our final product. In our kitchen today, we're exploring the technology that ensures our models are robust, scalable, and ready to deliver insights. These tools aren't just random additions to the shelf. They're the backbone of our process. From handling large datasets to making sense of complex patterns, they empower us to move seamlessly from raw data to actionable solutions. For example, think of SS Enterprise Miner as your high-performance oven built for large-scale operations. It's designed to handle enterprise-level analytics, supporting complex recipes that require the ability to process diverse data types efficiently. On the other hand, SPSS Modeler brings user-friendly precision to the table, almost like a sous chef who knows how to guide you through the process with expertise and finesse, no matter the complexity of the task. When it comes to precision and mathematical depth, MATLAB steps in, offering powerful computational capabilities. This is your go-to tool when the recipe calls for intricate techniques, whether it's a precise reduction or a delicate balance of flavors. And then we have Alpine Miner, the versatile tool that simplifies back-end workflows. It's like the food processor that takes the grunt work out of the equation, allowing you to focus on creativity and refinement rather than the repetitive tasks. Each of these tools brings its strengths, and when combined, they transform your analytics process into a well-coordinated operation. Just as a chef carefully selects ingredients to complement one another, we select tools that work in harmony, ensuring that no aspect of our model is left to chance. This is where creativity meets precision. It's not just about having the tools, it's about knowing when and how to use them. The right tools elevate your process, allowing you to innovate, experiment, and ultimately serve a model that's not just functional, but exceptional. As we prepare for the final stages, keep these tools in mind. They are the silent heroes behind every successful data project. At this stage in our analytics cooking show, we've done the hard work. We've carefully selected our ingredients, refined them through preparation, tested flavors, and cooked everything to perfection. But even the most incredible dish needs to be presented well. The final step in our journey is all about communicating results, plating our data insights in a way that is compelling, digestible, and meaningful to the people who will consume them. A great chef knows that presentation is just as important as flavor. The same dish, served in a rush on a plain plate, won't have the same impact as one carefully arranged with thoughtful garnishes, designed to engage the senses before the first bite. In analytics, data storytelling works the same way. The results of our analysis need to be more than just numbers, charts, and dashboards. They need to tell a story that resonates with the audience. The first step in this phase is making sure we document key findings in a structured way. Just like a chef writing down the final version of a recipe, we need to ensure that our results are clear, replicable, and easy to interpret. It's not just about what we found, but also how we arrived at those conclusions. Decision makers need confidence that the insights we're presenting are backed by a solid process, tested and refined through multiple iterations. Once we have the findings in place, We focus on validity and statistical significance, ensuring that our insights aren't just coincidences, but truly reliable and actionable. A dish might taste great in a test kitchen, but can it be reproduced at scale? Is the balance of ingredients consistent enough that every plate served will have the same quality? In analytics, this means verifying that our results are statistically sound, that they hold up across different samples, and that we're not just finding patterns that happened by chance. From here, the focus shifts to visual storytelling, presenting insights in a way that makes them clear and intuitive. A well-crafted data visualization is like a beautifully plated dish. It enhances the experience, guiding the audience toward the key takeaways without overwhelming them. This is where we decide which elements need emphasis. Do we use bold charts to highlight trends? Should we compare past and present data to show impact? Are interactive dashboards necessary to let stakeholders explore deeper? The goal is not just to share information, but to ensure that it's understood and actionable. But communication doesn't stop at visualization. Just as a chef personally introduces a signature dish to guests, explaining its inspiration and ingredients, we need to deliver insights in a way that engages the audience. Whether we're presenting findings to executives, data teams, or external stakeholders, we adapt our communication to fit their needs. A highly technical breakdown might be perfect for a data science team, but business leaders often need a concise, high-level summary that connects the data to strategic goals. Knowing the audience is key, just as a chef wouldn't serve a complex molecular gastronomy dish to someone expecting comfort food. We tailor our insights to ensure they land effectively. Finally, we leave room for discussion. A great meal sparks conversation, and so should great data insights. By encouraging questions, gathering feedback, and inviting stakeholders to explore the results further, we create a collaborative environment where data-driven decision-making thrives. This phase is the culmination of everything we've done so far. It's the final presentation, the reveal of all the work that has gone into preparing, analyzing, and refining the data. And just like a memorable dining experience, how we communicate our results determines how they are received, understood, and ultimately acted upon. Now that the dish is plated, it's time to serve it up and make an impact. Now that our dish is plated and ready to be served, we must ensure that each guest receives exactly what they need. In the kitchen, a fine dining experience means tailoring the presentation and portions to suit different tastes. Some guests want a full-course meal with detailed explanations, while others prefer a quick, satisfying bite. In analytics, delivering insights effectively means customizing the presentation of our results for different stakeholders. Not everyone at the table has the same appetite for detail. Executives may need a high-level summary that gets straight to the point, like a beautifully plated tasting menu where every element is designed to tell a story in just a few bites. Meanwhile, analysts and technical teams may need the full breakdown, the complete recipe, ingredient list, and preparation steps, so they can reproduce and refine the process as needed. For executives and business leaders, clarity and impact are key. They don't need every data point, but they do need to know what the numbers mean in the context of business strategy. Their version of the dish is sleek, elegant, and easy to consume. Concise reports, key performance indicators, and high-level visualizations that highlight trends and opportunities. They want to know what actions to take, what decisions need to be made, and how the insights align with business goals. A well-prepared executive summary distills complex analytics into something digestible and actionable, allowing them to move forward with confidence. For data analysts and technical teams, it's all about depth and precision. They need access to the raw ingredients and detailed recipes, the complete methodology, data transformations, model parameters, and statistical justifications behind every decision. Their deliverables might include detailed technical reports, reproducible scripts, and comprehensive data visualizations that allow them to dive deeper into the numbers. This level of detail ensures that the work can be validated, replicated, and improved upon in future iterations. Then there are operational teams, the ones who will take these insights and put them into action. They need something practical, clear recommendations, interactive dashboards, and automated reports that help them make real-time decisions. A marketing team might need customer segmentation insights to personalize campaigns, while a supply chain team might need predictive analytics to optimize inventory management. Their deliverables should be hands-on, functional, and directly tied to their day-to-day activities. Finally, external stakeholders, such as investors, clients, or regulatory bodies, may require tailored presentations that focus on transparency, compliance, and long-term impact. Their version of the dish needs to be both polished and precise, balancing depth with accessibility to ensure trust and clarity. The key to delivering insights effectively is knowing your audience. A master chef doesn't serve the same dish to every guest in the same way. Presentation, portion size, and flavor adjustments all depend on who's at the table. In the same way, tailoring deliverables ensures that insights are not only understood, but also acted upon. The final step of our journey isn't just about presenting data. It's about making sure the right people get the right information in the right way. When done well, this phase turns data from something abstract into something real, actionable, and impactful. The dish is ready, the plates are served, and now it's time for the audience to experience it. Before a new dish makes it onto the menu of a fine dining restaurant, chefs run a soft opening, a trial run where they serve a small group of guests, gather feedback, and refine the dish before presenting it to the world. In data analytics, we do the same thing. Pilot testing is our soft launch, ensuring that our model performs as expected in a controlled environment before full deployment. This phase is critical because even the best recipes might need adjustments once they leave the test kitchen. A dish that worked perfectly during development might taste different under real-world conditions, just as a model that performed well in testing might face unexpected challenges in production. Pilot testing allows us to spot potential issues before they scale, ensuring that our model delivers reliable and actionable insights. The first step in this process is selecting the right environment for the test. Just like a soft opening is done in a limited setting before rolling out to the full restaurant, a model is first tested on a subset of real-world data. This could be a specific business unit, a particular customer segment, or a controlled environment where results can be carefully monitored. The goal is to see how the model behaves when exposed to live conditions while minimizing risk. Once the test is running, we closely monitor performance metrics. Just as a chef watches the reactions of early diners to see if the seasoning needs adjusting, we track accuracy, response times, and consistency to make sure the model is delivering the expected results. If errors start appearing, or if the model struggles with certain scenarios, we take a step back and adjust the parameters, fine-tuning the flavors of the insights we're generating. Another key part of this phase is gathering stakeholder feedback. In a restaurant, guests at a soft opening provide invaluable input that helps refine a dish before it becomes a permanent menu item. In analytics, we involve business users, data teams, and decision makers, ensuring that the insights the model provides are practical, understandable, and aligned with business needs. If stakeholders don't trust or understand the model's outputs, the full deployment won't be successful. Once we've collected data, analyzed performance, and refined the approach, we decide whether the model is ready for full deployment or if further improvements are needed. Sometimes, just like in the kitchen, we realize a dish isn't quite right and needs another round of adjustments. This phase ensures that when we do go live, we're confident that the model is robust, reliable, and ready to deliver real impact. Pilot testing isn't just a precaution, It's an essential part of ensuring long-term success. It allows us to make adjustments before mistakes become costly, ensuring that our analytics solution is truly ready for the main stage. The best restaurants don't rush their dishes onto the menu, and the best analytics teams don't rush their models into production. The time spent testing now guarantees a seamless and successful rollout when the time comes. Now comes the moment we've been preparing for, the deployment phase. This is when all the planning, preparation, testing, and refining come together, and our analytics model is finally ready to be served to the entire organization. Just like a chef unveiling a signature dish to diners, this is where we take our insights out of the controlled kitchen environment and put them into real-world use. But deployment isn't just about hitting a launch button and hoping for the best. Just as a restaurant ensures that every meal leaving the kitchen meets quality standards, the deployment process must be carefully managed to ensure smooth integration into business operations. It's not just about having a great model, it's about making sure it delivers consistent, reliable results at scale. One of the first considerations during deployment is scalability. A dish that worked in small test batches must now be prepared for a full restaurant of guests. Similarly, a model that performed well in pilot testing needs to be optimized for larger datasets, more users, and increased demand. This means ensuring the infrastructure can handle production workloads efficiently, whether it's cloud-based systems, automated pipelines, or real-time processing capabilities. Another key aspect is integration. A great dish isn't just served on its own. It fits seamlessly into the restaurant's menu, complementing other offerings. In analytics, deployment involves integrating the model with existing systems, dashboards, and decision-making workflows. It needs to work smoothly with business intelligence tools, CRM platforms, or automated reporting systems, ensuring that the right people get the right insights at the right time. Monitoring and performance tracking play a crucial role post-deployment. Even the best recipes may need slight adjustments over time. Chefs continuously refine their dishes based on diner feedback, and similarly, we must monitor our model's accuracy, efficiency, and impact in real-world conditions. This includes tracking key performance metrics, identifying drifts in data patterns, and making updates as needed to keep the model relevant and effective. A well-deployed model doesn't just provide insights, it drives actionable change. The real success of this phase isn't in the technical deployment itself, but in how well the model empowers decision makers, optimizes business processes, and enhances overall strategy. The goal is to move from insights to impact, ensuring that the work we've done translates into tangible value. Deployment is not the end of the journey, but rather the beginning of the model's life in the real world. The kitchen doors are open, the dish is on the menu, and now it's time to see how it performs at scale. The work doesn't stop here. We continue refining, iterating, and improving to ensure that every serving delivers excellence every time. A great chef doesn't just send out a dish and forget about it. They watch the dining room, listen to feedback, and continuously refine their recipe to ensure it meets expectations every time. In the world of analytics, continuous monitoring plays the same role. Once a model is deployed, the work isn't finished. It needs to be carefully observed, maintained, and adjusted to ensure long-term accuracy and relevance. When a new dish is introduced at a restaurant, it might taste perfect on opening night, but over time, subtle variations in ingredients, cooking conditions, or customer preferences may require adjustments. Similarly, a model that performed exceptionally well during training and deployment may start to drift as new data flows in. Market trends shift, customer behaviors evolve, and business priorities change. If we don't monitor the model's performance, its predictions and recommendations may slowly lose their accuracy and effectiveness. This is why tracking key performance metrics is essential. Just as a chef continuously refines seasoning, plating, and portion sizes based on diner reactions, we keep a close eye on indicators like accuracy, precision, recall, and response time to detect any changes. If the model starts making errors or showing bias, we step in to diagnose and correct the issue before it affects critical business decisions. One of the most common challenges in this phase is model drift. Imagine using a recipe that worked perfectly last season, but suddenly the same ingredients no longer produce the same results. This happens in analytics when the data patterns a model was trained on change over time, making its predictions less reliable. Continuous monitoring helps us detect these shifts early so we can retrain the model with fresh data or adjust its parameters to keep it relevant. Beyond accuracy, we also look at operational performance. Is the model responding quickly enough? Is it handling the expected workload efficiently? A dish might taste great, but if it takes too long to prepare, it won't work in a fast-paced restaurant. Similarly, if a model slows down due to increasing data volume or system inefficiencies, we need to optimize its performance to ensure it continues delivering insights on time. Just like a head chef relies on feedback from both staff and customers, monitoring isn't done in isolation. Stakeholder input remains critical. Business leaders, analysts, and end users provide valuable insights into how the model is performing in real-world applications. If teams are struggling to interpret results, or if recommendations don't align with operational realities, adjustments must be made. Continuous monitoring ensures that the model remains a living, evolving tool that adapts to new challenges. It's the difference between a one-time success and a long-lasting staple on the menu. The best analytics models, like the best dishes, aren't just created and forgotten. They are refined, improved, and perfected over time to maintain their impact and value. As we bring our culinary analogy closer to its climax, think of monitoring model accuracy as tasting your dish at every critical step to ensure the perfect balance of flavors. Just like in cooking, where a sprinkle too much or too little can ruin a dish, monitoring your model's performance in real time is essential to keep it aligned with the desired outcomes. Here, we emphasize regular testing. This process is akin to sampling each ingredient for its contribution to the final flavor profile. In analytics, this means tracking key performance indicators, KPIs, precision, recall, and F1 scores, which serve as our taste testers. They help gauge whether the model is effective, precise, and adaptable to the real-world scenarios it faces. Imagine deploying your dish at a bustling restaurant. The stakes are high, and the feedback loop is constant. Customers, much like the data the model encounters, change, evolve, and bring new complexities. Monitoring ensures your model adapts to these shifts without losing its core flavor. The lesson here? Never skip the tasting phase. It's the difference between a model that merely functions and one that delights. Just as a dish that caters to the nuanced tastes of your diners leaves them craving more. In our culinary journey through the world of analytics, we've reached the final plating stage, the moment when everything comes together and we present our dish. The key outputs of a successful analytics project are much like the components of a perfectly plated meal. Every element serves a purpose, and together they create a masterpiece. Business user insights. This is the moment the diner takes their first bite and experiences the intended flavors. For business users, these insights are the tangible benefits derived from analytics, a clear understanding of how the analysis aligns with strategic goals, optimizes processes, or drives growth. It's the proof that the effort behind the scenes was worth it. Project sponsor evaluation. Here, we step back and assess the impact. Much like the chef evaluating the diner's satisfaction, This evaluation ensures that the analytics project justifies its investment. It highlights the return on investment, mitigates risks, and ensures alignment with the overarching objectives. It's the validation that the dish was not only delicious, but also worth the time, effort, and resources. Technical deliverables. These are the precise recipes and techniques shared with the kitchen staff, tools that make the creation of future dishes seamless. For analytics, this translates to comprehensive documentation, code, and models. It's what empowers technical teams to replicate success, refine processes, and ensure long-term sustainability. Just as a great meal leaves a lasting impression, successful analytics projects deliver enduring value. Each output is a testament to the meticulous effort and collaboration behind the scenes, ensuring the project isn't just a fleeting success, but a foundation for continued innovation. As we wrap up our culinary adventure through the data analytics lifecycle, let's take a moment to present the final course, the 4 main deliverables of a successful analytics project. These are the elements that ensure everyone at the table, whether they're business sponsors, analysts, or technical teams, leaves satisfied. Presentation for project sponsors. This is the elegant menu we present to our sponsors. It's not about every ingredient or cooking technique. It's about the highlights, the strategic value, the high-level takeaways, and the story of how this analytics project directly supports organizational goals. It's concise yet compelling, crafted to leave a lasting impression. Presentation for analysts. Think of this as the detailed recipe book. It dives into the finer details, providing clear instructions and insights into how business processes and reporting will evolve. For our analysts, this ensures they have the clarity to adapt and act on the outcomes with confidence. Code for technical people. Here, we hand over the secret sauce, the meticulously written code that made everything possible. It's the blueprint for replicating, scaling, or modifying the solution, ensuring it remains robust and adaptable. Without this, it would be like sharing a recipe without the ingredient list, frustrating and incomplete. Technical specifications. Finally, we have the procedural manual. This is the behind-the-scenes documentation that ensures the solution can be implemented seamlessly and sustained over time. It covers best practices, requirements, and the nuances that empower technical teams to keep the system running like a well-oiled machine. And with that, we close the lid on our pot and serve the final dish. The beauty of analytics, much like cooking, is in the collaboration, the way each person at the table, from data engineers to business leaders, contributes to something greater than the sum of its parts. This journey may end here, but in reality, it's only the beginning of a continuous cycle of learning, refining, and innovating. Thank you for joining us in the analytics kitchen, where insights are crafted and data becomes a delectable story worth sharing. Bon appétit.